Monogatari is a story of liars. That isn't a wrong statement, but it also isn't the most truthful one either. As well, everybody is a liar. Everyone lies to themselves and everyone sees the world differently. Sengoku Nadeko is someone who, like all of us, lied to herself. She lied about who she was and conformed to the expectations and opinions of others to the point she literally became what others saw in her and lost track completely of who she was. And so this is who we shall discuss today. If you find yourself entertained at any point during the video, then consider liking, subscribing and ringing that bell, as I can explain to you how much just a small action can do for this channel. And if you want to support this channel even further, then perhaps check out my Patreon. Anyway, on with the video. Sengoku is a character defined by lies and misinterpretations, and this is reflected in her name. Sengoku means thousand koku, an archaic way to value rice fields, which mirrors the hara in Senjougahara's name, which means field. The sen specifically means thousand, a homonym for war, again much like the Senjo in Senjougahara's name. On the surface level then, you can say her name is similar to Senjougahara's, but also different. This mirrors her love for Aragi. On the surface it seems like the same romantic attraction to Aragi, but really it is no such thing on a deeper look. Nadeko then is an alternate reading of the name Nadeshiko, most likely referring to Yamato Nadeshiko, the proverbial ideal Japanese woman, but again it is just a surface level similarity and the deeper meaning is different. This references how Sengoku outwardly projects the image of a girl people expect of her, but not who she really is. And then if you literally read the name Nadeko, you get caressable girl, a very apt description for the image of herself she presents. And well, on an even deeper level, the fact her name doesn't reflect the true her, but just what people see of her on the outside, and the act she puts on, reflects how the her on the outside, name and all, isn't the true her. As well, who named her this? Her parents, the people who are shown in Koi Monogatari, don't really have any understanding of who their daughter really is. Sengoku is a victim. In a literal sense, she was a victim to the Jagironawa. At least that's how it appeared in Bakemonogatari. Because as becomes very apparent in Atari Monogatari, Sengoku chooses to be a victim. What I mean by this is that Sengoku Nadeko played the role of a victim so often that she literally became one. To elaborate further, I want to turn your attention to her parents as recently discussed in my analysis of parents in Bakemonogatari. As shown when Kaiki visits her parents, they are more concerned with upkeeping the cute image of her room than being worried about her disappearance, as they almost see her less like a daughter and more like a doll. They dress her up in cute clothes because to them she's just their cute daughter and nothing more. They only see her on the surface level because they only care about the surface level about her cute exterior and nothing more. Sengoku acts like a cute girl because that's what her parents expect of her. She deep down doesn't like cute things or dressing in cute clothes, but she does it anyway. And why is that? Because it is comfortable. She doesn't love it, but she doesn't hate it. It is an easy normal she can maintain. She'd rather act how people expect her to than how she really is, because it's easier. People won't get mad at you or annoyed at you if you act how they expect you to. And this approach of just living comfortably defines the person Sengoku chooses to be. It's why she is content with her unreciprocated love for Aragi, because an unreciprocated love is comfortable. She doesn't need to change or do anything different, she can just love him from afar. And since she never intends to ask him out or make him aware of her feelings, she can never be rejected and so will never have to feel hurt. It's comfortable for her. Sure, she will act sus around him and make small advances, but she does this full well knowing he won't catch on. She is comfortable with that fact. And the reason he won't catch on is because he sees her as almost a little sister, which again is her choice. She chooses to call him Kaomi Oni-chan in order to play into this role, to keep the status quo of her just being his little sister's friend. She is just keeping things comfortable and preventing him from seeing her as a potential love interest, so she won't have to face rejection. She can be happy with, once again, a comfortable status quo. But by playing this frail innocent girl, this victim, she becomes one. The only reason the Jagironawa had targeted Sengoku was because she rejected a boy that liked her. And what was the reason she gave for why she couldn't go out with him? Because there was already someone she liked. Aragi. She used this unreciprocated love to once again maintain a comfortable status quo. She didn't have to openly reject the boy and risk causing drama because she just liked somebody else. Her whole life, everything she does is not in service to herself but to others. She does what makes others happy and what avoids conflict because it's easier, and because it protects the true self that she doesn't want anybody to see. Her cute pink room is a metaphor for her outward appearance. It's pretty and neat, exactly what one would expect. As long as you just look at the surface level, there is nothing amiss. But if you peek in the closet, or in Sengoku's case, peer under her fringe, you will see the true inner feelings of Sengoku, the ones that are nothing like the exterior. After all, the eyes are the window to the soul. Sengoku hides her eyes and so her true feelings behind this fringe. She doesn't want people to know the real her, and so her fringe acts as a physical defense for her. Hence the significance of Tsukiki cutting her bangs, but we will discuss this in a bit. Basically, the Sengoku we see in bakemonogatari, the little sister type who is a victim in need of saving, who is meek, shy and uncombative, that is just what she wants people to see, what Araki sees, and only in Atari Monogatari do we get to see the true depths of her character and the completely different person she is under the surface. Monogatari is written in a style of writing called stream of consciousness, where a writer tries to capture a character's thought process through interior monologue and descriptions of how they see the world. And the greatest asset of this narrative style is that you don't have to describe what happens, just what the narrator thinks is happening. And so, of course, this is put to great effect in Atari Monogatari, as for nearly the whole part we are led to believe that Sengoku is being manipulated by a snake god in order to revive it back to the world in exchange for a wish. However, as we find out, there is no snake god. Kuchinawa was just a figment of Sengoku's imagination, it was just her the whole time. Atari Monogatari is just the mental breakdown of Sengoku as her perfectly crafted exterior finally cracks and her true feelings are set loose on the world. Kuchinawa is just a part of Sengoku, just one aspect of her mind, and as such everything he says is what she says. When he says good people can become bad, when he says roles are not eternal, when he says that she is to blame for the misery she causes, that is all her. She's brutally aware of the folly in her playing the victim. She becomes a victim because she acts like one. She knows all this and knows it is unhealthy, but cannot act on it. She goes so far as to create a separate personality in her head, just to convince herself of the things she is well aware of but is afraid to confront. Because to confront it would open her up to pain and conflict, the things she so desperately strives to avoid. Throughout Atari Monogatari, we see time and again the various ways she lives in accordance with being comfortable but not being happy. She looks away from others, hoping they will go away to avoid confrontation. She changes her shoes because that is just what is expected of her. She becomes class president as to refuse would cause conflict. She goes with the flow, does all that is asked of her because it is what people expected of her. She apologises even when she did nothing wrong, as that leads to a peaceful situation, it avoids conflict. As is brilliantly demonstrated with her conversation with Tsukiki, she doesn't apologise because she feels sorry for something, she does it because she thinks that is what is expected of her. This leads to her bangs being cut by Tsukiki and her eyes, her soul, being exposed to the world. Throughout this part we see Sengoku begin to fall apart on the inside, but after this act it happens on the outside too, as she no longer has her hair, her physical barrier to hide behind. After this point, Sengoku really does break apart. She lets out her anger at her classmates and teacher. She finally lets them see another side of her. But still, it's not the true her. It's not the meek victim, sure, but it isn't the true her. Even at this point, she will not let it out. She ignores Tsukiki's advice and refuses to live in reality. She is adept at escaping reality, she always has been, but that was a problem. Whether she acted like a victim, like a little sister, or like an angry classmate, it was all acting. It was like she was living out a story of her own creation. The ultimate way to distance herself from reality was to separate the true her from the her she is living as. She was like a ticking time bomb, and once the exterior shattered, the bomb went off. Araki failed to stop her because, counter to how she may have made it appear, he really didn't mean all that much to her. He was just a tool for her, a tool to maintain a comfortable life, living as a character of her own making. Everything she did up until becoming a god, all the lies she told herself, all the acts she put on, it was all in service to protecting her true self. She was scared of what would happen if she revealed her true self to the world, so protected it at any cost, even if the cost came at her very humanity. This is perfectly foreshadowed back in Bakemonogatari. The only reason the Jaguar became strong enough to hurt her was because she was killing snakes at the shrine. It is as if she hurt herself. And further to this, the reason she killed the snakes was because she followed a wrong method. Much like how the way she went about saving herself by lying to herself was, again, the wrong approach. Sengoku hates people, hates how they hurt and cause pain to one another. She is acutely aware of how others see her, and so is very aware of the ugly truth of humanity. She wants no part in it, so hides behind her bangs or ascends above them as a god. Becoming a god was the ultimate escape from reality, the ultimate self-defense. Her true dream and her manga were the one release she had, the one time she could act how she wanted to be, the one time she didn't need to lie about herself, but she grows to hate this dream of hers because she is scared of it getting out, of her true self being exposed to the world. By becoming a god she can have a superficial happiness without risk of her true self being exposed. It is once again just a comfortable situation for her. She does all this to protect her true self and her dream. As Kaiki says, a god cannot become a manga artist, so maybe in her mind, by becoming a god and ending all possibilities of reaching for her dream, she can keep it hidden away from even herself, as it's a dream that near and that dear to her heart. She doesn't even tell her dream to Kuchinawa, as it's one that she won't even tell God, Or well, since he is actually her, it's a dream she won't even admit to herself. I mean, as said, once a dream is told to the world, it won't come true. Her feelings for Araragi never were her dream, they were just a means to an end. But to be a mangaka, that was her most truest dream, one she felt unworthy of, and so she would never say it out loud because she will never compromise it. But the reason a dream ceases to be a dream when you say it out loud is because once you tell it to someone else, it becomes a goal you are prepared to act on. Dreams are dreams because they exist in your head, so when you reach out for them they cease to be dreams and become attainable. But Sengoku is too scared to reach out because she is too afraid of failure, of being judged, of people laughing at the true her. But even if they do laugh, she still needs to do it because that dream of hers is the true Sengoku, the one that needs to be set free for her to finally be free. Sengoku is only saved and returned to humanity when she admits to her dreams, when she speaks them out into the world. She saves herself by acknowledging herself, by not lying about who she is inside and allowing herself to be happy, not just comfortable, by reaching for her dreams. Dreams don't magically plop into your lap, you have to fight for them. The process is not comfortable and Sengoku has to accept and brave that fact. Sengoku's overall arc is about self-love, about coming to accept and love who she really is. She grew to hate her inner self, the only part of her that brought her happiness, and so spiraled into a downward spiral. She put on a mask and played a role to shield herself from the world because she was scared of rejection. She fixated on Araragi, made everything revolve around him because that gave her a reason and an excuse to do what she did, because she didn't want to admit to herself that what she is doing isn't her true desires. But stuff only happens when you do something. As long as her manga stays in the closet and her true self behind her bangs, her dream will never come true. It's only when Sengoku admits to her dream that she bears her heart for the first time to someone that we finally get to meet the true Sengoku Nadeko. A young artist who wants to make something of herself and her talents, but is too scared to do so. Kaiki was the perfect person to confront her, as he is exactly what she is not. He is someone who knows himself. Out of all the cast, no one knows themselves better than Kaiki. He, a conman, beats a god with nothing but words and a bit of tofu. If that's possible, then so is anything. You just need to want to do it, and not be afraid to do it. Sengoku allows herself to be convinced by Kaiki's words, and so saves herself. Becoming human again wasn't what saved her, instead speaking her dream out for all to hear was what did. The Sengoku we see in Owari Monogatari is not a victim and she is not cute. Sure, she is still meek and nervous, but when her bang's gone, there is nothing to stop her true self from being seen by the world. She is not just openly showcasing her dream, but by inviting Skihi over, she is also allowing others into her dream. She won't keep it hidden anymore, she will push it out for all to see. As even if she is still scared of being judged, the fact she even so still does it is a testament to how strong-willed the true Sengoku is, something beautifully explored in the off-season's Nani Monogatari, but that's a video for another time. Although I think every character in Monogatari is excellently written, there are some characters who I hold in an even higher regard. Araragi, Hanikawa and Sengoku. A Sengoku story is one that I think we can all relate to. If you have any creative passions, no, if you have a dream of any kind, I'm sure you have faced the fear of putting it out to the world. The fear of the ridicule you may face. But as I said, to make a dream reality you must take it from your mind and introduce it to the real world. Nothing will happen from just thinking about something. We as people have things we want to do, things that will make us happy, and so we need to reach for those things even if it is embarrassing, as it is up to us and nobody else to make our lives happy and worth living. I'm always worried in the back of my head that a video I make or a book I write may not be well received, that I may just embarrass myself. But in order to be happy we need to do the things we want to, despite those worries. The only one who knows you, truly, is you, so you have a duty to yourself to not hide who you are. Sengoku's biggest flaw was her lack of faith in herself, and only by taking the plunge and pursuing her dream did she find this faith in herself, and finally let the world see not the cute doll or the little sister, but Sengoku Nadeko, a middle school girl who just wants to draw manga. Comment of the week comes from QWeris85, and I'm glad you're enjoying the Madaka Box content, and I'll be sure to keep it up and coming on the channel. If you're interested in my literary endeavours, then why not check out my books Gang Fluid Justice and People of Vape Volume 1, available at Amazon.com. And if you want to go the extra mile in supporting this channel, then consider pledging to my Patreon, where for as little as £2.75 a month, you can get your name at the end of the video, like Hikari Desu, 7SO, Rinjak9696 and Dewey. So with all that said and done, I've been Seth the Sin, the Deadly Sin of Geek, and I'm signing out. Stay safe, everyone.